This is one of the links that Stanford gave on its site for where its source material came from. University of Oregon, Human Resources, Trans Glossary 101. There's just 4. They're all interesting. Assigned sex. The declaration by a medical provider of an individual's sex and gender is based on genitalia appearance at birth. After the assignment, the individual is expected to grow up and exist within a certain set of gender roles appropriate to their assigned gender, commonly seen as female assigned at birth or male assigned at birth. Also see sex. I don't know in what way this is right, actually. I think that they've made as many errors as they possibly could in a set of sentences this long.
Well, I think it's right. Just, it assumes a many worlds interpretation of physics in which there's a world in which an obstetrician tells you what gender you are and then hands you either a truck or a set of cooking implements depending upon the assignment. If that world exists, then this is a perfectly appropriate point to be making.
I mean, I don't know when this was made, but it's up in the end of 2022. Sex isn't assigned at birth, it's observed at birth or before birth. I've said it a billion places at this point. So just that's point 1. But after the assignment, no, it's not an assignment, but after the assignment, the individual is expected to grow up and exist within a certain set of gender roles appropriate to their assigned gender. Says who? Like, when are you living? The 1950s? What is going on here? Like, that's not the world that we were living in until you yahoos decided to come in and decide that if you felt like wearing lipstick, that must mean you're a woman. Like, what is happening?
Wouldn't it be wonderful, though? I would love to see a skit in which the obstetrician declares the child male, and then the parents are like, "Oh, good. What careers does that open up for them?"
Well, exactly. This is so... I just don't understand how anyone can put a list like this together and not the entire time go, God, this is regressive. God, we're going backwards. Oh, this is bad. Like, this is so freaking regressive.
But at some level, look, we keep falling into this, right? This is sophistry. And the real point of this list is not the content of the list. The real point of this list is to see if you're afraid of them.
Not.
Right? If you're afraid of them,
yeah.
then you will start attempting to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not afraid of them, you might just go on speaking in ways that convey things to people as if that was your purpose.
Yeah. Okay. Next one from the University of Oregon's trans resources list, cisgender privilege. Cisgender, of course, meaning that how you present to the world is the sex that you are. The set of privilege, and I will say, before I read their cisgender privilege thing, I will call someone trans who is identifying as trans. I have rejected from way back when we had trans students and we were thinking about this and wading through it and all of this. At one point, a student who was sort of dabbling, one of the cues, queer, questioning something, decided to tell the entire class, this is not a class that we were teaching together, but decided to tell the entire class that all the rest of us needed to start introducing ourselves as cisgender. And I said, no, we don't. That is not what we are. Cis is a word created by the tiny minority to make it seem that the world is not as it is. So I object to the I acknowledge that if you're going to have trans, that there needs to be a category to which to compare it to. But that doesn't mean that the vast majority of us for whom genetics and development went in the normal way and who do not feel a deep sense of misalignment between the sex that we are and the sex that we feel ourselves to be, do not need to be walking around saying, I'm cis. Like, no, we just are, okay? So cisgender privilege, they say, the set of privileges conferred to people who are perceived to be cisgender. Examples: having one's correct pronouns used, no harassment in public restrooms, no denial of access to health care. This no denial of access to health care thing is up there with, if you don't affirm your child's new trans identity, they're going to kill themselves. It's right up there with that. It's this claim, oh, trans people are having their health care denied. No. Trans people have not had any health care that is available to all the rest of us ever denied to them. What in some places, people under some ages are being restricted from having is permanently misfiguring or hormonally disrupting procedures done, which no one who is not trans would ever choose to have done.
Right.
So it's not about healthcare. It's about the thing that somehow you've decided you should expect to have access to because you have a condition that is suddenly fashionable. It's not healthcare.
It's exactly, if you identified as fentanyl deficient, are you entitled to have fentanyl distributed to you?
Exactly.
And the answer is no, you're not entitled to any such thing. The way we do medicine, there are prescription drugs. This is one. You can't have it unless a doctor decides you need it.
Right. And yet the needle distribution stuff for heroin addicts is, not too far from this, right?
Yeah.
And yes, it's better to have clean needles than dirty needles, but it's better not to have access to any needles at all. And I am not making a claim about what I think should happen in that space with regard to people addicted to drugs that they shoot up, but it is the same kind of logic. Like, well, obviously the thing you need to do is just give them access to all the things that they say they need. Or we could try to help them not be addicts.
Right. We could define what is you hurting yourself and not help you do that, and just decide what kind of help you might be offered. Now, this is a harder argument to make
in
an era where our medicine has become so prone to injure people as a matter of, I don't know, doing pharma's bidding. But but in a decent world, you would rig this in such a way that doctors were a bias in the direction of improving your health rather than maiming you because you had a feeling.
Yes.
I will say cisgender privilege, though, also is not a good term because it's just ambiguous. It sounds like your parents treated your sister better than you.
You know what I'm going to say.
Right?
It's spelled differently.
It is spelled differently.
But yes, it sounds the same.
It's only spelled differently if you're spelling it.
For me.
Yes.
Sure. Okay, two more.
I don't know how I won that point, but I feel that I did.
I mean, the last point that you made was true. I don't know that counts as winning, but...
In my world, yes, very much so.
Two more from the University of Oregon's trans resources. You could show my screen if you like, Zach. Lesbian. I don't even know if the person writing this knows how to write, but lesbian, a person who self-identifies as a woman's capacity to be emotionally, physically, and or sexually attracted to other people who identify as women.
Wow.
No.
This is not a
short,
draft?
just no. Lesbian is someone who is an adult human female, woman, who is sexually attracted to other adult human females, women. Not trans women, not people who emotionally feel like women on the inside. No. Wrong.
Yeah, this one is easier to define than they're letting on.
A lot. And finally, sex. A term used historically and within the medical field to identify genetic, hormonal, physical characteristics, including genitalia, which are used to classify an individual as female, male, or intersex. To also sexual behavior activity engaged in by an individual with one or more partners to express attractions and arousal. A term used historically and within the medical field.
Archaic.
500 million years, guys. Maybe closer to 2 billion.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how long sex has been around. A term used historically. Sex, the word, has been around probably about since language has been around. It was one of the first things that people were using to categorize other people. But that's all irrelevant. This is from the people who really think that if you don't have a word for it, it doesn't exist. And they'll make that argument too. And some of them will say, no, of course we don't think that. But then you see some of the crap they say. And the fact that the word has or has not been abused or used or changed meaning this, that, or the other, doesn't matter because sex itself, we are part of a lineage that has been sexually reproducing with two and only two sexes for at least 500 million years. Maybe closer to 2 billion with a B. It doesn't matter historically, medical field, this, that, or the other, doesn't matter.
Wait, I think we are missing a term. It does not immediately spring to mind what it might be, but In most cases,
Hmm.
a word means something, and then it may stop meaning that, or it may mean something and it may come to mean something else, right? The idea, what's going to happen here, right? You've got whatever the nice term for morons is, who have decided that you shouldn't use the term sex in the way it has been used to refer to patterns that go back hundreds of millions of years at least.
Hmm.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to calling it sex. So what do you call the brief period of time in which the morons have disproportionate power such that a term doesn't mean that thing? It did mean it and it will mean it, but it doesn't mean it right now.
The brief period of time, well, hopefully we can just call it a dark age and we don't have to call it the end of civilization.
Oh yeah, it is kind of, it's like a linguistic dark age.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly it. No, that's exactly it. All right, good.
Oh, it's fabulous.
No, it's good.
I know.
The fact that, a cognitive dark age, one in which you stop having science publicly interacted over, is a recognizable phenomenon, right?
Hmm.
When we say dark age, we do not mean it will forever be dark, right? It might be that this one brings humanity to an end, but if humanity continues, we will go back to doing science. You know why? Because it works.
Yeah.
If humanity continues, we will go back to referring to sex in an intuitive way. Why? Because it conveys something that we want to convey with some regularity, right?
Accurately. Because in this case, as in many cases, but not in all cases, our collective intuition is correct that sex is real.
Yeah, no, I think this is right. A linguistic dark age is exactly the right concept, and I don't think it exists in our parlance, and we need it. If they're going to pull this shit on us, we need to have that term to explain what they're doing.
Good.